Welcome back to our channel. In the pocket of an unsuspecting individual, tossed casually into a coin jar or passed along through decades of transactions, there might be a coin so rare that its story defies all expectations. It's easy to underestimate a dime. It's small, light, and often overlooked in the world of big-dollar coin collecting. But among the many millions minted, one specific coin from the year 1976 stands apart. It's a coin that tells a story of imperfection, rarity, and astonishing value. This is the tale of the very rare 1976 US 1-dime coin, a piece of history now worth between $60,000 and $142,000, and one of the most surprising discoveries in American numismatics. To understand the significance of this tiny treasure, we must rewind the clock to 1976, a year of celebration, transition, and patriotic pride across the United States. America was in the middle of its bicentennial celebrations, commemorating 200 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Citizens were swept up in the spirit of the times. Flags flew higher, parades stretched longer, and commemorative coins were being struck in honor of the nation's historic milestone. While quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins received special bicentennial designs, the humble dime retained its standard appearance, quietly continuing its circulation without any flashy redesign. Yet, that same year, something unusual occurred during the minting process. Somewhere deep in the facilities of the U.S. Mint, likely either in Philadelphia or Denver, a minting error slipped through unnoticed. A rare misalignment or mechanical flaw caused a small batch of 1976 dimes to be struck with imperfections so distinct, so technically fascinating, that they would decades later draw the attention of collectors and experts from around the world. And as with most extraordinary things, the flaw was both accidental and incredibly hard to reproduce, making these coins instant rarities once discovered. What makes the 1976 dime error coin truly captivating is not just the error itself, but how well hidden and subtle it often is. At a glance, it may appear like any other Roosevelt dime, bearing the profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse, the word "Liberty" crisply engraved, the date 1976 just beneath his neck, and the national motto, "In God We Trust," positioned carefully beside his image. Flip the coin, and you'll see the standard torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. It all looks normal, until you notice the error. Some of the rarest 1976 dime errors involve dramatic double die strikes. These are coins where the design was impressed more than once by the die, slightly shifted between impressions. The result is unmistakable: the letters appear to be shadowed, the date may look distorted, and Roosevelt's features subtly duplicated. For trained eyes, these errors are like a signature of imperfection, a marker that something rare and incredible has taken place. Other examples of the 1976 dime include off-center strikes, where the coin's design appears shifted away from the center, leaving part of the blank planchet exposed. A more unusual and even more valuable error involves coins struck on the wrong planchet altogether. There have been verified cases of 1976 dimes struck on planchets meant for pennies, resulting in a coin that is smaller, thinner, and often a different color altogether. These are mistakes that should never happen under normal circumstances, and when they do, they turn the resulting coins into instant rarities. The journey of these error coins is as fascinating as the errors themselves. Often, they go unnoticed for years, circulating in the pockets and drawers of ordinary Americans. One might sit untouched in an old wallet, forgotten in a piggy bank, or buried at the bottom of a coin collection passed down through generations. Then, one day, a curious individual with a magnifying glass, a coin grading book, or a deep love for numismatics spots something unusual. A doubled letter. A missing element. An irregular edge. And just like that, an ordinary coin is revealed to be anything but. The discovery of one such 1976 error dime by a collector in California sparked national interest after it was graded by a professional agency and later sold at auction for tens of thousands of dollars. The buzz generated by that sale prompted more people to go digging through their coin stashes, hoping lightning might strike twice. In another case, a coin dealer in Arizona uncovered a perfectly preserved off-center 1976 dime tucked away in an inherited coin lot. That piece, flawless in condition and rich in rarity, would later command a price few would have believed possible for a 10-cent coin. Roosevelt dimes have been in circulation since 1946, chosen to honor the president who led the country through the Great Depression and World War II and who was instrumental in founding the March of Dimes to fight polio. Their design has remained relatively unchanged for decades, making even the slightest deviation stand out. And that's exactly why the 1976-era coins are so thrilling. They take something deeply familiar and twist it into something new, mysterious, and infinitely more valuable. Authentication is a crucial step in determining the legitimacy and value of a 1976-era dime. Professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC evaluate not only the error itself but also the overall condition of the coin. Coins graded MS65 or higher, meaning they are in near-perfect mint state, are especially valuable, and when combined with a rare error, their value skyrockets. The rarity is amplified by how few of these coins have surfaced. Experts estimate that fewer than a few dozen confirmed error dimes from 1976 exist in high-grade condition, making each discovery feel like unearthing buried treasure. Collectors who chase these coins are driven by more than just profit. There is a thrill in the hunt, a passion for preserving American history, and a deep respect for the anomalies that occasionally emerge from even the most precise systems. These coins represent moments where the machines hiccuped, the quality control slipped, and chance created something extraordinary. And that's what makes them so desirable. They are stories struck in metal. Each one is a narrative of American industry, of bicentennial celebration, of human error and mechanical mishap that slipped through the cracks and into legend. The most pristine 1976 dime errors, those with strong double die features or clear off-center strikes, in excellent condition, have been sold at auctions for prices ranging between $60,000 and $142,000. For a 10-cent coin, that's nothing short of astonishing. The price isn't just about the coin's physical properties, it's about what it represents. It's about owning something only a handful of people on Earth ever will. It's about history, rarity, and the unpredictable nature of the minting process. It's about finding value where others see none. So, next time you come across a dime, don't just toss it in a jar or ignore it at the bottom of your purse. Take a moment. Look closer. Examine the date. Study the lettering. Pay attention to the details. Because the next rare treasure might be in your hands without you even realizing it. And if that dime happens to be from 1976, and it bears the marks of a rare minting error, you might just be looking at a piece of American coinage history, one with a value far beyond its face. A single dime, so easy to overlook, can carry with it a legacy of surprise and fascination. For those lucky enough to uncover one of the extremely rare 1976 US 1-dime error coins, the reward isn't just in owning a rare item, it's in the knowledge that something so small, so seemingly insignificant, can be worth between $60,000 and $142,000. That's the magic of numismatics. The extraordinary hidden in the ordinary. And the chance that maybe, just maybe, the next big discovery is already in your pocket. In the everyday hum of American life, few people take a moment to examine the coins that pass through their hands. They're often tossed into pockets, dropped into vending machines, or forgotten in the depths of an old drawer. But every so often, a coin slips through the cracks of routine, a coin that looks like all the rest, but contains a secret that transforms it from pocket change into a historical artifact. That's exactly what happened with the incredibly rare 1984 US 1-dime coin, a piece so uncommon and so desirable that its value today ranges between $50,000 and $133,000. At first glance, it seems ordinary. But hidden beneath its surface lies a flaw so fascinating that collectors have spent decades chasing it down. To appreciate the mystery and worth of the 1984 dime, we have to go back to that moment in time. The United States in 1984 was full of optimism, change, and cultural energy. Technology was accelerating, the economy was shifting, and in the world of coinage, the U.S. Mint continued its steady task of producing billions of coins to fuel commerce across the nation. The Roosevelt dime, long established since 1946, remained the face of the 10-cent piece. But as flawless as the minting process aimed to be, perfection isn't always guaranteed. In that year, an anomaly crept into production, invisible to the public eye but unforgettable to numismatists. The design of the Roosevelt dime remained unchanged in 1984. On the obverse, the dignified profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt. Above his head, the word Liberty boldly inscribed. Just beneath his chin, the motto, In God We Trust. To the right, the year 1984 etched in neat, sharp font. Flip the coin, and you'd find the reverse unchanged too, the torch in the center, flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, signifying peace and strength. On any ordinary day, this dime would be spent without a second thought. But in rare instances, something extraordinary was struck into these small discs of metal, errors that would one day make them worth more than their weight in gold. One of the most remarkable and valuable errors found in 1984 dimes is the double die obverse variety. This occurs when the die, the stamp used to press the design onto the coin, is misaligned or struck more than once. The result is unmistakable to those who know what to look for. Letters appear slightly doubled, features like Roosevelt's eye, mouth, or ear may have ghost-like outlines, and the date might seem layered. These small details, invisible to most, are golden signs to collectors. They mean rarity, they mean history, and they often mean life-changing value. Then there's the off-center strike. This error occurs when the coin blank is not properly aligned during the stamping process. The result is a coin where part of the design is missing or cut off, leaving an oddly shaped piece that is both visually striking and incredibly rare. Depending on how off-center the strike is, and how much of the date and imagery remains visible, these errors can be worth thousands, especially in pristine condition. Even more intriguing are the wrong planchet errors. Imagine a dime that was accidentally struck on a blank meant for a penny or a foreign coin. The weight is off. The color may be slightly different. The size feels just a bit unusual. But unless you knew what to look for, you'd never guess that it was a minting mistake so rare that collectors would jump at the chance to own it. These planchet mix-ups are anomalies of a high order. They slip past quality control, travel across states in circulation, and often spend years in drawers or jars before someone realizes what they found. What makes these 1984 errors so remarkable isn't just their visual uniqueness, it's their rarity. Unlike other minting mistakes that happen in larger quantities or are more commonly found, the confirmed population of major 1984 dime errors is incredibly small. Fewer than a few dozen have been authenticated by professional grading services, and even fewer exist in mint condition. That scarcity adds a powerful layer of value. In the world of numismatics, it's not just about the error, it's about how few others like it exist. These rare coins have been discovered in the most unexpected places. One man in Texas found a double die 1984 dime while helping his son build a coin collection for a school project. A woman in Illinois discovered an off-center 1984 dime in a batch of coins she had saved from her first job. They weren't coin dealers or seasoned experts. They were ordinary people who paid attention, took a second look, and uncovered something incredible. That's the magic of coins like this. Anyone can find one, and its value can change their life. When such coins are discovered, they're often sent to grading agencies like PCGS or NGC, who not only confirm the authenticity of the error but also assign a condition grade. Coins that receive a mint state designation, especially MS65 and above, are highly sought after. The better the condition, the more desirable the coin becomes. Combined with a rare and significant error, the price can soar beyond expectations. Auction houses have seen these coins fetch stunning figures. One professionally graded 1984 double die dime sold for over $68,000 at auction, despite being modestly circulated. Another, with a more dramatic error and an even higher grade, crossed the six-figure mark with ease. Collectors know how hard it is to find these pieces, and they're willing to pay for the privilege of owning one. Each error tells a story, of a process gone slightly wrong, of oversight in a system designed for precision, and of a coin that should never have existed in the first place. Beyond auctions and grading, the 1984 dime story is also about appreciation. Not just in value, but in how a simple object can symbolize the complexity of minting. the charm of chance, and the passion of a community that spans the world. Collectors don't just chase these coins for profit. They chase them because they are living pieces of history. Tangible reminders that even in mass production, uniqueness can emerge. And when it does, it's unforgettable. Roosevelt dimes have long served as quiet workhorses of the American economy. They've passed through generations, unnoticed and underappreciated. But the rare 1984 dime turns that narrative on its head. It reminds us that even the smallest coin can hold immense significance. That rarity hides in plain sight. And that with just a little curiosity and attention, anyone could discover something remarkable. So the next time you receive change, take a moment. Look closely at that dime. Is the date clean and even? Do the letters show signs of doubling? Is the strike perfectly centered? The answers could be worth more than you ever imagined. The 1984 dime may seem like a simple piece of metal, but for the lucky few who found its rare era versions, it has been a source of astonishment, joy, and in some cases, significant financial reward. And here's the part that stuns everyone. This tiny 10-cent coin, struck in 1984, with the right error and in the right condition, has been known to sell for between $50,000 and $133,000. That's right. A coin once used to buy a pack of gum could now buy a luxury car, or even a house. That is the extraordinary journey of the rare 1984 US 1-dime coin. It is a perfect example of how rarity, timing, and a touch of mystery can transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. And perhaps, right now, one of those very coins is sitting quietly in someone's pocket, waiting to be discovered. In the fast-moving rhythm of daily life, coins come and go without much thought. They're handed over for coffee, dropped into parking meters, and tucked away in wallets and drawers. But occasionally, amid the billions of coins minted each year, one stands out. Not because it looks dramatically different, but because something unusual happened during its creation, something so rare, so unexpected, that it turned an ordinary dime into a sought-after treasure. This is the story of the very rare 2003 US 1-dime coin, a coin that quietly slipped into circulation 2 decades ago and today carries a value between $42,000 and $115,000. It's a story built on chance, imperfection, and the thrill of hidden discovery. In 2003, the United States Mint was in full operation, producing billions of coins across its facilities to meet the needs of commerce. The Roosevelt dime had long been a staple of American currency. First introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, its design had remained consistent for decades. With Roosevelt's portrait on the obverse and the symbolic torch flanked by olive and oak branches on the reverse, it was a coin most Americans never gave a second glance. But 2003 was different, because something unexpected happened behind the scenes. An error slipped through the tightly controlled minting process, creating a tiny number of dimes that would go on to stun coin experts and collectors alike. These errors are not visible to the casual observer. The average person could easily hold one of these rare 2003 dimes and see nothing unusual. But with a trained eye, or a bit of curiosity, a person might notice something off. Maybe the design elements look slightly doubled. Maybe the coin seems misaligned or oddly shaped. Or perhaps the coin has a strange color or weight that doesn't quite match the others. These are the subtle signs of a minting error, and in the world of numismatics, they are golden tickets. One of the most notable errors from the 2003 dime is the double die obverse. In this rare variation, the details on the front of the coin appear to have been struck twice, creating a slight doubling effect in the text, date, or Roosevelt's features. The most visible doubling often appears on the word liberty, the motto, "In God We Trust," and the date, 2003. Sometimes, Roosevelt's eye or mouth may show ghost-like outlines, giving the coin a unique and unmistakable appearance. This is not damage from wear or tampering, it's a legitimate mint error that occurred when the die shifted slightly between strikes. Another error variety involves the off-center strike, a mistake that happens when the coin blank is not properly aligned during the pressing process. The result is a coin with part of the design missing, shifted awkwardly to one side. These coins are often irregular in shape and highly collectible, especially when the date remains visible and the misalignment is significant. Perhaps the most exciting and rare of the 2003 dime errors is the wrong planchet strike. In rare cases, a dime may be accidentally struck on a blank intended for a different denomination, such as a penny or a foreign coin. This results in a coin with different coloration, weight, and sometimes even size. For example, a 2003 dime struck on a copper penny planchet might appear more reddish in tone and weigh less than a standard dime. These types of errors are extremely rare and highly prized by collectors due to their unusual appearance and the precision required to authenticate them. What adds to the intrigue is how these coins are discovered. They're not found locked away in safes or behind glass in museums. They show up in pocket change, in bank rolls, in old coffee tins and dresser drawers. One was found by a teenager in Oregon while sorting through coins for a school project. Another surfaced in New York when a seasoned coin roll hunter noticed the faint doubling on a 2003 dime he almost tossed aside. These finds often come with surprise and disbelief, followed by careful verification and grading by professional agencies. Authentication is key. A coin with a suspected error must be carefully examined by experts at trusted grading services like PCGS or NGC. They inspect the strike, the metal composition, and the overall condition of the coin to determine if it's a genuine error and assign it a grade. Coins that receive a high mint state grade, such as MS-65 or above, can command top dollar prices, especially when the error is rare and well defined. The rarity of these error dimes cannot be overstated. Among the millions of dimes minted in 2003, only a tiny number have been confirmed to carry these types of errors. That scarcity is what drives the value up. In a market where demand for rare and unusual coins continues to grow, these pieces stand out. They're not just coins. They're accidental masterpieces created by the missteps of a complex system. Over the years, examples of the 2003 error dime have gone up for auction and sold for staggering amounts. One off-center 2003 dime with a crisp visible date and high-grade condition fetched over $44,000. A double die variety in exceptional mint state condition reached $89,000 after a flurry of competitive bidding. But the highest known sale was a wrong planchet 2003 dime authenticated by PCGS, which sold for a breathtaking $112,000 due to its pristine condition and extreme rarity. These coins don't just represent a financial opportunity. They're a link to history, to the fascinating world of U.S. minting, and to the stories of people who stumbled upon treasure without even realizing it at first. Coin collecting isn't just about old and ancient currency. Sometimes, it's about finding the extraordinary in the recent past, in coins we still use today, minted within our own lifetimes. The story of the 2003 US dime reminds us that greatness can hide in plain sight. It shows us that not all valuable things look valuable at first glance. That a coin, made to be spent without a second thought, can become the centerpiece of a world-class collection simply because of a mistake. It teaches us that curiosity, attention to detail, and a little bit of luck can uncover something truly special. So the next time a dime lands in your palm, pause for a moment. Look at the date. Study the design. Ask yourself if there's something different about it, something just a little off. Because among the billions of coins out there, one could be hiding in plain sight. And if it happens to be a rare 2003 US dime with a verified minting error, you could be holding a small fortune. In the end, it all comes down to the value of rarity, the excitement of discovery, and the stories that coins can tell. And for the 2003 US 1 dime error coin, that story is one of quiet beginnings and a spectacular finish. Today, this dime, once worth just 10 cents, can fetch anywhere between $42,000 and $115,000. A remarkable journey for a coin that was never meant to be anything more than ordinary. Every once in a while, a coin meant to serve an ordinary purpose becomes something extraordinary. It slips through the cracks of perfection, hides in plain sight, and only reveals its true identity to those who take the time to look closer. In 2016, the United States Mint produced countless Roosevelt dimes, each intended to perform the same task: carry small monetary value, circulate widely, and pass unnoticed from hand to hand. But within that massive production run, a tiny number of coins were struck differently. An error occurred. A flaw, invisible to the casual eye, made a few of these dimes incredibly rare. And those rare 2016 US 1-dime coins, now highly sought after by collectors, have risen in value to a stunning range of $30,000 to $88,000. At first glance, there is nothing remarkable about a 2016 Roosevelt dime. The obverse features the familiar left-facing portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The inscriptions are unchanged: Liberty above his head, In God We Trust just beside his jawline, and the year 2016 marked clearly beneath his profile. The reverse displays the familiar symbols of a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, representing liberty, peace, and strength, surrounded by the words United States of America and 1 dime. It's the same design Americans have seen for decades. Yet among these familiar images, some coins from that year bear mistakes that transform them into priceless rarities. The most significant of these errors is the double die obverse. This occurs when the die used to strike the design onto the coin shifts slightly between strikes, resulting in a doubled image. On a 2016 error dime, this might show up as shadow-like doubling in the lettering of Liberty or In God We Trust, or even around Roosevelt's eye and ear. To most people, it's barely noticeable. But to numismatists, it's a sign of something incredibly rare and valuable, a factory flaw from one of the most precise minting operations in the world. There are also known off-center strike errors from the 2016 dime series. In these cases, the coin blank was not perfectly aligned when struck, resulting in a finished coin where part of the design is missing or shifted. These coins look warped, often with a crescent of blank space where design should be. The more dramatic the misalignment, and the more complete the visible date, the more desirable the coin becomes. High-grade off-center 2016 dimes are exceedingly rare, and when combined with other flaws or pristine condition, they can fetch unbelievable prices. Even more elusive are the wrong planchet errors. This is when a coin is accidentally struck on a blank intended for a different denomination or even a foreign coin. For instance, if a dime were struck on a blank meant for a penny, it would be copper-toned instead of silver and slightly lighter in weight. These types of errors are extremely rare and very hard to detect unless someone is paying attention. The composition and weight differences are subtle, but once verified by a grading agency, they elevate the value of the coin tremendously. The discovery of these rare 2016 dimes often begins with simple curiosity. A coin enthusiast in Michigan noticed strange doubling on the word Liberty while sorting change from a grocery run. A teenager in Georgia stumbled upon an off-center 2016 dime while coin roll hunting, a popular hobby among collectors who search through bank rolls in hopes of finding rare treasures. One particularly striking error was found by a school janitor who had kept a small jar of coins collected from lost and found lockers. In each case, the individuals didn't know they held something special at first. It took careful inspection, some research, and ultimately professional grading to confirm what they had discovered. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC are essential in the world of rare coins. These institutions evaluate the coin's authenticity, identify the specific error, and assign a grade based on its condition. The highest grades, MS65 and above, are reserved for coins that have been well preserved and show minimal signs of wear. When one of these rare 2016 dimes earns a high grade, it becomes even more valuable. The combination of rarity and exceptional condition is what truly drives up the market price. Collectors are drawn to coins like this because they are a perfect storm of uniqueness and historical curiosity. The 2016 error dimes aren't old, ancient, or covered in patina. They're modern, contemporary pieces from our current age. But that makes them even more intriguing. In a time when technology and precision dominate the minting process, errors are supposed to be almost impossible. So when they do happen, they gain instant attention. They represent a slip in the machinery, a tiny moment of imperfection that slipped past inspection and into the hands of the public. As the collector market grows, so does the demand for these modern rarities. Coin shows, online auctions, and private dealers report increasing interest in error coins minted in the 21st century. Enthusiasts young and old are drawn to the possibility that their spare change might include one of these rare pieces. The excitement is in the hunt, the possibility that treasure might be found in something as simple and overlooked as a dime.1 authenticated double die 2016 dime in mint state sold for just over $35,000 after collectors recognized the quality and clarity of the doubling. An off-center example, still showing the full date and graded MS66, fetched $61,000 in a major numismatic auction. And a dime struck on a copper penny planchet, the only one of its kind certified by PCGS, stunned the community when it was sold in a private sale for $85,000. These are not isolated cases. They represent a growing awareness that modern coinage can still deliver surprises, and sometimes, incredible returns. The magic of the 2016 rare dime lies not just in its financial value, but in the wonder it inspires. It's a reminder that even in our era of machines and mass production, randomness still exists. That a single moment of imperfection can turn a coin from common to extraordinary. And that anyone, regardless of experience or location, could be the next person to uncover a hidden treasure in their change. So next time you're handed a dime at the checkout counter or find one wedged between the cushions of your couch, take a moment. Hold it up to the light. Look closely at the text, the date, the alignment of the design. Because the next rare find could be right there in front of you, small, silver, and sparkling with potential. And for those lucky enough to come across one of the rare 2016 US 1 dime coins with a verified error, the reward could be life-changing. With values now ranging between $30,000 and $88,000, these coins prove that even the most ordinary objects can hold extraordinary stories. And it's those stories, of chance, discovery, and rarity, that continue to fascinate collectors and inspire treasure hunters across the world.